From the sea, you enter this ancient port by passing 2 piers and 2 redundant lighthouses. But this is no ordinary coastal town, for it is divided in half by the River Esk and has a landscape which reflects a split personality, a place that revels in contrast, sea and land, day and night, life and death. For Whitby has 2 sides. To the east, and overlooking the harbour and the North Sea, is the sinister-looking Whitby Abbey. And despite how domineering it seems, it is just a mere fragment of what else goes on in this town. Over on the west side is the statue of Captain James Cook. This Yorkshire man was born in the nearby village of Marton, but it is Whitby where he learnt his skills and love of sailing the sea before joining the Royal Navy in 1755. This town had a massive whaling history and is such remembered by this arch, which is made from the lower jaw of a bowhead whale and presented to the people by Whitby's twin town of Anchorage. Such was the enormity of whale fishing in Whitby. The stench of decomposing whale fat was so overwhelming it would make grown men weep and vomit. This town has so many stories of ghosts, demons and vampires. None more so than Bram Stoker's Dracula, meaning son of the dragon. Stoker stayed in Whitby during the 1890s, and this bench is said to be his favourite spot for writing and watching the activity below of its harbour and narrow streets. It is a view which has hardly changed in 120 years, and some say you can still see Count Dracula stalking the cliffs today. The Count can also be seen here, where he often hides. You can still hear his victims scream as they meet their fate. Known today as the Screaming Tunnel, this link provides a shortcut to the harbour. Crossing over the River Esk to reach the other side of this town, we use the Whitby Town Bridge. A crossing has been here since medieval times, to connect this divided town together. The current swing bridge was made in 1908 by the same engineers who built Blackpool Tower. It swings open, allowing taller boats to travel further upriver. Once cleared, it quickly closes again, letting traffic and pedestrians to cross once more. This cobbled square is Whitby's historic marketplace, where shops selling Whitby jet surround it. Queen Victoria wore jewellery made from the black stone in mourning, which in turn grew demand. But jet wasn't the only black market in this part of town, as it was also a smuggler's haven. Whitby's market-goers wore loose-fitting clothes and often returned home with their buttons bursting with smuggled tea, tobacco, and alcohol. The ghost of a smuggler roams here. He was murdered, literally stabbed in the back, by a close friend in a dispute over contraband. Another ghost is that of Hannah Locker, who can be seen wandering around the Black Horse Inn. She had fallen from her chair and fractured her skull on the fireside fender. The authorities kept her body at the inn for several days, and now she is the resident ghost. Over the years, staff and residents have reported seeing the phantom of an old woman with white hair, wearing a long black dress. Dracula arrived in Whitby disguised as a large black dog and runs up the 199 steps leading to St. Mary's Church. And there is no doubt that there are 199 steps. Should you choose to count them on your way up and arrive at a figure of 198 or maybe 200, then prepare yourself for a spell of bad luck. And best that you descend the steps and recount them correctly. For most inhabitants of Whitby, these steps were their last journey, whilst being carried up to the churchyard. It was known as being sided out, because they had to carry the coffins sideways. Periodically, the steps are numbered in Roman numerals, and resting places are still here, where the pallbearers were able to rest on their ascent to the top. St. Mary's Churchyard stands proud yet eerily upon this east cliff and sets the scene for Bram Stoker's opening chapters. Dracula attacks his first victims here, and a grizzled local tells the heroine, Mina Murray, that some of the graves are empty. Mina is told later that when these men died at sea, families commonly buried an empty coffin to lay their loved ones' souls to rest. This really is a wild and forbidding place, and not somewhere to visit after the hours of darkness. St. Mary's Church lays in the shadows of the famous Whitby Abbey. Now a ruin, it still stands proud on Whitby's east cliff. Dracula knows the abbey well, although long before him it already had dark secrets. A young nun, Constance de Beverley, broke her sacred vows when she fell in love with a gallant knight called Marmion. When this came to light, she was bricked up alive in the walls of the abbey, and today her ghost can be seen at the site, cowering and begging to be released. And a phantom choir can be heard on the 6th of January every year at dawn, the old Christmas day. The landscape here, like much of coastal Britain, is constantly evolving. The power of the sea which created the town and shaped its fortunes may also be Whitby's undoing. Or is it simply the revenge of Dracula?